Hi there, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about Bitcoin since percentage decline. If you notice, I've actually been working on this website and now I've finally called it something called Chart Inspect. If you guys want to join my Telegram link, there'll be a link in the description down below. Chartinspect.com, it'll be up soon for you guys to check out. So let's get into this. So this is the chart. I've been programming a bit of charts recently, and I feel like this is a very interesting chart to look at. So the way it works is this chart basically tracks how many consecutive days have passed since Bitcoin has experienced an X amount of percentage decline. So you can write a custom amount, you can choose through the actual values there. And so basically this counts the number of days until a certain percentage decline has occurred. So if we take a look at the first cycle here in 2011, you can see that starting from zero, I actually don't really have all the data, but this is a good enough representation. So the reference point are the yellow lines, and the red line represents the count of days. So if you go up to the amount of days, it peaked at 365, give or take a few days, 10 days or so. And then the count goes back to zero once you've actually experienced that X amount of decline, in this case 75. Let's see the next cycle in 2013, we experienced 1,212 days before we experienced that 75% decline from around $1,000 to $207. And you can see the same thing occurs each cycle, 75% declines. So let's say we wanted to check out 30% declines, which is also a very interesting chart to look at. So here you can see that we haven't really experienced a 30% drop, even though it kind of seems like we have. If you just take a look at the charts here, you can see I don't actually have the close price on mine, so it has gone below 30% in some cases, but I don't have the close price. I should probably add that. So this one was also around a 30% if you don't consider the actual low price. I mean, not the close. So this one actually needs to change that, but still you can see that we've kind of experienced let's say 40% actually, because that will probably display it a bit better. So yeah, it's a very similar chart. So 40% declines, we haven't really experienced that even with the low values there. So since 2022, January 25th, we've had 1,053 days since a 40% decline in Bitcoin's price. And let's check what this one was, because this is the only really major one that's occurred for that given point, since for that amount of time, really. In January 20, around the same month, actually, in 2015, January 14th, we had 2 days, and then it all went all the way up until 1,097. So we're actually nearing that point where you get that 40% decline usually, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it has to happen. You know, future or past performance isn't really an indicator of future results. All indicators are wrong, some are useless, yada yada. But you can sort of see we're really overextended in terms of the 40% decline indicator. And if you take a look at the 20% decline one, you can sort of see that it makes a bit more sense because we've seen these 20% declines occur. So this one up here, we experienced it right at that point when we were at 30K, went down to 25K or 26K. You get the point. So a really interesting one I think is the 75% percentage decline, because it sort of shows you that this tends to occur. The 75% decline tends to occur each bear market. So you can see after we get those mania phases in each market cycle, Bitcoin tends to have those 75% declines in the price. And right now we're actually at around 1,000 days, and this tends to top around 1,500, 1,400, 1,200. So that's sort of lengthening days there, so it's sort of going up in time. But I would say that if you look at Bitcoin's chart right now, really what it's been doing is it's been on these so I can never find what I need. it's sort of been in these, like I discussed in a prior video, it's sort of been in these ranges for Bitcoin. It's been in these ranges, in these lower high structures. So, and then it finally breaks out, right? So we held support at this on the gold wave here, and that's currently coming in around 86K. I would say Bitcoin has been holding up relatively well compared to the rest of the markets, given all the uncertainty around tariffs and the Fed, and that's also coming out in the middle of May, the Fed meeting, and they're probably not going to change. Probably not going to decrease rates. Probably going to keep them where they are. So I would say Bitcoin. If you're looking at Bitcoin's price right now, I would say you need to really get above this prior level that we experienced right here. So you can see that it's sort of wicked above it at 98K, and we sort of came back below it. And we actually just had a weekly close that was actually positive, but we couldn't really get above this level right here. So this level right here where Bitcoin was holding this range, I would say is a very, very important part to maintaining the integrity of the cycle. Just because if you look back in 2019, you can sort of see that we got this range here, and we sort of failed to break through this range right there. So, and then we had that recession right there, which was sort of a black swan event. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying that we didn't hold that key level of support. We would have dropped down a little bit, and then maybe continued back, or definitely continued back on the bull market right there. I would say the same thing is sort of happening right here. If we can't really hold this level, I would say we kind of need to spend a little bit more time down here, like we did here and here, holding these key levels, that key level support at the gold wave, and then maybe we can back test that resistance level there. So yeah, I just want to show you this new chart that I've been working on days since percentage decline. I got inspired by another YouTuber to make this. And like I said, if you guys want to join my Telegram channel, there'll be a link in the description below, and I will give you guys first access to the website whenever it becomes live. We're going to be able to track the crypto risk metrics, so you can see the time spent in risk bands. You can see the actual gold wave here. You can see the percentage, the distance between the moving averages, so you can see where it changes negative, changes positive. Currently, we've actually been holding the gold wave at around 8%, 7%. If we can continue to hold those levels, I would say Bitcoin has a pretty good chance of hitting a new all-time high this cycle. But like I said, everything is up to debate whether on what the charts are actually doing. So yeah, this is another indicator that's going to be on the website, the Bitcoin risk metric. And I've actually been tweaking this a little bit. So if you go onto this, it's basically normalized from 0 to 1, the risk level, and you can see the actual risk level right here. You can see that we've actually hit this around 0.7 risk level when we hit that 100K. When we hit 100K USD up here back in January and December. So that was sort of flashing these values right here. Similarly to 2019 as well. So I would actually say that that's a pretty interesting thing to watch. So if we don't really hold these levels, maybe we could see a little bit of an extra drawdown, and then finally another leg up. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys how the website's coming along and provide another update on Bitcoin. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, comment if you want to see more, and have a good day.